right, let's talk about some stative verbs. Stative verbs are verbs that we usually don't put into present continuous or past continuous. We use them in the other tenses, but the reason we don't put them into the continuous tenses is because they are states of being. They are generally, they're about perception, cognition, having or being or taking a stance. So they are stative, not dynamic. That being said, we have to be careful about making some generalized rules. For example, I'm going to tell you a list of verbs that we usually don't put into stative, or that we usually don't put into the progressive tense. But these verbs go into the progressive tense a lot. And when they do that, they take on a different meaning. So let's look at some verbs today, and we'll talk about what the change in meaning is when we put them in the progressive tense or when we keep them in a simple tense. Often, taking a stative verb and putting it into a progressive tense is a more colloquial way of speaking. We don't use it in writing as frequently as we use it in speaking, but English is always changing because it's an organic language. So let's first look at what does the progressive form actually look like. A progressive form has the be verb and it has the verb and then an ing on the end of it. If it doesn't have all three parts, the be, the verb, and the ing, it's not a progressive verb. Even if it has an ing, you think you're looking at a verb. It's not a verb unless there is the helper verb be with it. Okay, that's an important piece to say. We usually use stative verbs in a stative meaning, but if they have a dynamic meaning, then they would go into the progressive tense just fine. For example, she has red hair. She is having dinner. Okay? She has red hair. The meaning is that she owns that hair belongs to her. If she's having dinner, it means eating. Having actually means eating in that sense. So just be aware that the kind of verbs that we use often change meaning depending on a couple of things, depending on context and depending on frequency. So if it is a very common verb that we use a lot, they are likely to be changing. They are likely to change meanings more often, okay? Another thing to understand is that when we talk about things that are temporary, we very often put them into the progressive tense. But if things are stable, then we would not put them into the progressive tense. If something is temporary, it can go into the stative, or we could then use a stative verb in a progressive tense. And I'm going to show you examples of that quite a bit. So let's take a look first at the verb agree. Agree is generally a stative verb. We would say, she didn't agree with us. But, and so what I'm doing here, I took, let me show you really quick. Here, we're discussing a verb list that was put out by perfectenglishgrammar.com. And I'm using some of the quotes come from the thoughtco.com Stative Verbs blog. Okay? That's where my sources come from for this lesson. Agree is a stative verb. She didn't agree with us. And in most cases, you will just use it in the simple tenses. She wasn't agreeing with us. Is possible to use. We would use that, not as frequently as she didn't agree with us. It changes the meaning just a little bit. She wasn't agreeing with us. Oh, I was so frustrated the other night because we were at this movie and I wanted to see this and my friend wanted to see this. And she just wasn't agreeing with the rest of us. She wasn't agreeing. That puts it into a temporary state of being, that this person usually agrees, but that night she was being contrary. The be verb is now in a temporary form. She was being contrary and she wasn't agreeing with us. So it's a temporary situation. Believe. I don't believe the news. I'm not believing the news. Okay, so this one is a no. I don't believe the news. If it's temporary, you could say, "Oh, I'm just not believing anything right now. I just need to go to sleep because this is too exhausting." Whatever it is, you can take a stative and make it progressive if you're talking about a specific moment that is transitory. Consist. Bread consists of flour and water. Bread, nope. Bread is consisting of flour and water. No, we don't do that. We just don't say that one. Appear. It appears to be raining. It is appearing to be raining. Nope, we don't say that one. So some of them are hard and fast. They don't have a lot of different meanings. Some of them can shift. Okay? And I do think that, I'm not sure, British English speakers chime in the comments below. I think that American English is more relaxed with these rules than British English is. I could be wrong. Concern. This concerns you. This isn't concerning you. We would never say this isn't concern you. We would say this doesn't concern you, meaning this isn't your business. You don't have to worry about what we're talking about. This doesn't concern you. All right. Contain. This box contains a cake. This box is containing a cake. We would never say. I'm sorry, she's not containing her feelings right now. We would say. Because, so contain yourself. We say contain yourself when someone is like being all crazy, awesome, or, acting up. Someone's being all wild. We might say, contain yourself. Come on. Be a little less crazy. Contain yourself. I'm sorry, she's not containing her feelings right now because she's letting them all out of the container. That's a dynamic action. Depend. It depends on the weather. It's depending on the weather. Okay. We wouldn't say it's depending on the weather. We would say depending on the weather, comma, ... In that case, depending is not, let's write that one down. So we could say, depending on the weather, they will be here by 7. Okay? we could say, depending on the weather, they will be here by 7. Depending here is a gerund phrase. It's not a verb. And that's what I was talking about back when I was showing you this slide here, is you have to have the be. In that phrase, depending on the weather, you don't have a be. There's no be here. It's just depending on the weather. Depending is now a gerund opening up this phrase. It's not a verb. Hey, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I am creating an English program. You can find information about it at thezarden.com, and like and subscribe to this video to see all of my videos. If you want them curated in a progression, then go to my website to find out all the information about our conversation classes, and for all languages actually, but conversation classes and for our upcoming English program that we teach online. I'm excited about this opportunity for you and for me, and I hope to work with you in the future. See you, and like and subscribe so you can keep getting my videos. Talk to you later. Bye.